Didn't he understand why the motel manager's voice dropped to a whisper when he mentioned the bathroom mirror? I understood after I watched my reflection smile before I did. I was driving cross-country alone. The kind of trip where the miles blur together and every town looks the same once the sun goes down. By the time I reached the motel, it was close to midnight. The sign flickered like it was struggling to stay awake, and the parking lot was empty except for my car and an old pickup with a tarp over the bed. Inside the office, the air smelled stale, like dust and damp carpet. The manager was an older man with gray hair combed flat against his scalp. He slid the room key across the counter without looking at me. As I signed the register, he finally spoke. "Bathroom light's a little finicky," he said. Then, after a pause, "And don't use the mirror at night." I looked up, expecting a smirk or a laugh. There was none. His eyes stayed fixed on the countertop. "What do you mean?" I asked. He hesitated, then shrugged. "Just don't. If you need the sink, keep the light off." That was it. No explanation. He wished me a good night and turned away, clearly done with the conversation. I told myself it was a joke, or maybe some local superstition meant to mess with travelers. Still, the warning stuck with me as I walked to my room, the gravel crunching too loudly under my shoes. The room itself was ordinary enough. Beige walls, a low hum from the air conditioner, the faint smell of bleach. The bathroom door stood slightly open, the mirror visible from the bed, reflecting darkness. I set my bag down and tried to shake the feeling that something was off. I was exhausted, but the idea of brushing my teeth without looking into the mirror felt ridiculous. After all, it was just a mirror. I turned on the bathroom light. At first, everything was normal. The mirror reflected me exactly as I expected. Tired eyes, road-stiff shoulders, a thin line of sweat at my hairline. I leaned closer, squinting at a small cut on my cheek from shaving earlier that morning. That's when I noticed it. When I leaned in, my reflection leaned in too, not quite at the same time. It was subtle, just a fraction of a second late. I straightened up quickly. The reflection followed, again just a beat behind. My heart picked up, but I forced a laugh. Old mirrors warped images all the time. That had to be it. I turned off the light and backed away, suddenly aware of how loud the click of the switch sounded. Lying in bed, I stared at the ceiling, listening to the distant sound of cars on the highway. Every few minutes, my eyes drifted toward the bathroom door. I told myself not to look, but curiosity has a way of growing teeth. After maybe half an hour, I got up again. This time, I stood in the doorway and flicked the light on without stepping inside. The mirror reflected the hallway behind me, the bed, the drawn curtains, and me. I raised my hand slowly. My reflection did the same, but halfway through the motion, it stopped. My hand kept rising. The reflection's hand hung in the air, fingers slightly curled, as if waiting for instructions. I froze. After a long second, the reflection completed the movement, matching my pose perfectly. Then it smiled. I stumbled back, hitting the edge of the bed. The bathroom light buzzed softly. The reflection's smile faded, returning to a neutral expression, like nothing had happened. I shut the door and didn't sleep at all. Sometime around 3 a.m., I heard a faint sound from the bathroom, a soft tap, then another, like fingernails against glass. I pulled the blanket up to my chin and stared at the door. The tapping grew more rhythmic, almost impatient. Tap, 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 tap. Then it stopped. A voice spoke from the other side of the door. It was my voice. "Hey," it said quietly. "You forgot to look." I don't remember deciding to leave. I just remember grabbing my keys, yanking the door open, and running into the cold night air. The parking lot was still empty. The office lights were off. As I started the car, I caught my reflection in the rearview mirror. For a moment, it didn't move. Then it raised its hand and waved. I drove until sunrise without stopping. I never went back to that town, and I avoid mirrors at night whenever I can. Sometimes, though, when I pass a motel on a dark highway, I swear I can see someone standing just behind my reflection, waiting for me to look again.